As we talk about the trade war between the United States of America and Republic of China, we can consider many of the constituents of this trade war so far, but it's an ongoing process and many of the other things will be revealed later as well. Well, we can talk about the American part into it and we can talk about the Chinese part into it. Let's talk about the American one. The trade war so far between United States of America and China. Well, US dollar 54 billion of US imports subject to new tariff worth US dollar 11 billion. The trade was that of US dollar 54 billion, and now the tariff cuts are those of US dollar 11 billion. And on the contrary, now we talk about the earlier we talk about the US imports. Well, the US imports are US dollar 54 billion and they are subject to new tariff worth of US dollar 11 billion. Let's talk about the exports. Well, the US dollar 22 billion total US exports now subject to a retaliatory tariffs worth US dollar 25 billion. In fact, it was all initiated by United States, more so to say Donald Trump. So it was in retaliation put ahead by the Chinese, and the Chinese have put US dollar 22 billion total US export now is subject to Chinese retaliatory tariffs worth US dollar 25 billion. So we move ahead and talk about the exports. 20.83 tariff on US dollar 6 billion of imported lumber from Canada effective November 2017, and then we compare it with the exports. 25% of tariff imposed by the European unions. I'm not talking about the exports, in fact. 25% of the imposed 25% tariff imposed by European Union on US dollar 32 billion of the US exports in response to a steel aluminium tariffs. So US took an action where they had 20.83 tariff on US dollar 6 billion of imported lumber from Canada effective November 2017, and in response from European Union EU 25% tariff imposed by the EU on US dollar 32 billion of the US exports in response to steel and aluminium tariffs. Now get to another rating here. Tariffs rate quota on, I'm talking about the imports in fact. The tariff rate quota on US dollar 1.8 billion of imported washing machines effective February 2018. Tariff rate quota on US dollar 1.8 billion of imported washing machines effective February 2018. And now what is in the return? Uh, in the return for the exports, they get 15 to 25% tariff imposed by China on US dollar 3 billion of US exports in response to steel and aluminium tariffs. Let me reiterate. 15 to 25% tariff imposed by China on US dollar 3 billion of US exports in response to steel and aluminium tariffs. So this is the situation for their imports and exports. We'll continue with it. I've got more details to share with you, and that's what I'll do in my next video.